All right, we get it rolling on the Krueger Show. We're back after Warrior basketball. Warriors-Lakers tonight. Doing so much NFL that I haven't done any Warriors in a while, but I decided let's get the band back together. And so we're doing it tonight. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week. We're also brought to you by Marin Auto Glass, marinautoglass.com, Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use the promo code Krug, and they will match you up to your first $100. And we have two sponsors for just this month alone. Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue. Check them out in Pacific Grove. Call Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. And valleyhillroofing.net, 209-481-6851. That's 209-481-6851. The website links are all listed in the description. We are back doing our thing. Ballers in the house. Danny's up there in the corner. Rye's got a Warrior hat. Red's in the house in the dungeon with the backdrop. Carl Foster, I believe, is going to join us as well. Gentlemen, good to see you. This is the first we've talked in quite a while. The Warriors went tonight against the Lakers and get a nice win, 128-110. As Steph Curry drops in 32. He hit 6 threes. He had 8 assists. And the Warriors beat a Laker team that was missing LeBron James, who the Warriors tried to get from the Lakers just a couple weeks back at the deadline. Good to see you guys. How are you guys doing? Before we even get into the game, let's go right to the pleasantries. Haven't talked to you guys. I talked to Baller and Danny and Rye at the end of the football season. I think the last maybe the NFC Championship game. But Red, I haven't talked to you in a number of weeks. How you been?
I've been good, man. This is a good time of year for sports because there are multiple things happening. I like to be a fan also, and I got the opportunity to be a fan while doing a show during football season because I don't know if there's anybody online in the Bay Area who was locked in as much as you were with regards to the 49ers. So I was getting a lot of my knowledge and a lot of my takes listening to the various shows that you were doing. I'm doing fantastic. And like you said, it's good to have the guys back together. And I'm looking forward to the finish of the Warriors season because I think they're going to do pretty well.
You've been doing the dungeon? How's the dungeon going?
You know what? I have a loyal group of followers. I think the content's really strong, building kind of a rhythm. And that's the focus. The focus is on doing a great show. I am so amazed and gracious about the people who check me out. We actually do some pretty cool shows, man. So I'm really, really excited about the future. I just dropped a new song a couple of weeks ago that's getting a lot of positive response. So
what's it entitled?
It's called Where I'm Supposed to Be. And you guys have the technical skills. Maybe Ryan will be able to pull it up or whatever. But everybody likes the song. Everybody likes the song. It's good.
Is it better than this little riff? Wait a second. Where's my mic? There we go.
You miss your shot at life. You think there's nothing else for you to do.
Wow.
What do you think, Frank? We got that one out of the drop of a hat. Where do you put it compared to?
This is what I'll say. I'll say "Make You Feel" has become kind of a classic. I mean, it's been listened to over 1,000 times. Where I'm Supposed to Be is a good song, and it's on that level. It's like the Beatles didn't have one great song; they had multiple. So I'm a consistent artist. I think when you listen to it, you'll be like, okay, that's pretty good too. But Make You Feel
Red,
really good. Yes,
Red, I got to ask you a question on that song. I've been playing different music, my openings, and they're supposed to be royalty free, and people keep claiming them, and I get demonetized for the songs as I have to find a new song. Can I use your song in my opening?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good.
I would love to see Frank okay that, and then like 6 months from now, just sue Danny for just just Dan Coach Emilio is taken down in a ugly lawsuit Frank read, "How dare you take my song?"
Daddy, you have permission to use any of my songs that you like. It's all good, man. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. We'll do it. We'll promote it.
Appreciate you.
So what? Good to see all you guys. What did you guys think of the Warrior game tonight? Once LeBron went out, Ryan, what was the spread tonight?
The look ahead spread, because I was monitoring it
Started at
yesterday.
6, right?
It was at 4.5 last night. And I was like, 4.5 for the Dubs seems kind of a lot versus the Lakers. They tend to kind of the Lakers tend to go insane and get 70 free throws and figure out a way to keep it close. So, but then I heard LeBron might be out, and then I think it finished like 6.5 or 7.
Did you get it? Did you get some action on that, right?
No, I didn't.
Carl Foster joins the mix as well. Carl, I like the backdrop. Look at you. You got look at you. You got plants in the background now, and you got pictures, and look at you.
Got the American flag hanging down there.
You got the American flag. You got some nice window coverings. Did you guys and we just started, by the way. We're getting rolling here. One of the stories of the day that caught me was Joe Lacob. Did you guys see Joe Lacob spoke today? And he said, "We're not here just to be some team." And he was kind of partially defending the fact that the Warriors went after LeBron James. And Carl, obviously, uniquely, I don't know if people know this, but Carl coached LeBron James in the AAU circuit. I mean, well before he ever played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, well before he ever was the first pick in the draft. What did you think, Carl, when you saw that Joe Lacob, he was the guy who pushed the Warriors and Mike Dunleavy to try to make a play for LeBron, and then it got played like the Lakers said no, and that LeBron didn't want to go. But what'd you think of that whole story? Was LeBron to the Warriors ever, you think, a real possibility? Oh, you're muted. And by the way, I think I can hear Frank's song in the background here too.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can push that all the way down.
Carl, you're muted.
You're muted. Are you still muted? Am I mute? Have I muted him? No, I didn't mute you.
He's got some technical difficulties there.
Well, that's all right. It's all right. Brian Iglesias, by the way, says Dubs are 13.5-point favorites against the streaking Hornets, who are playing good ball as of late. It's an interesting line for a back end of a back-to-back. Well, as Carl figures out his mic situation, what do you guys think of? And Cy's going to join us at some point, so there will be some bickering here. You know that's coming. He's just.
Oh wait, we got to set up like Cy's going to come in hard, because I think the last time we all convened was the great Kuminga is not a pure scorer argument, and Cy was basically like, "I will bet my life that he'll be the second best player on the team." You know what? Cy has the meter is starting to move towards Cy, even though he's not.
He's not a scorer. He's not a KD
scorer.
He
just can score.
Cy's right now still locked on, so he's lecturing the people over there on why Kerr needs to go. But he will join us here shortly.
Well, Ryan and I were talking about not this season, but last season. We said we think that LeBron and Steph need to team up, and it could happen someday. So,
I would love it. I personally, I think the
idea
idea
of
of
LeBron on the Warriors, because I would hate it.
I would, because it would almost guarantee one more title. Because you think about how he just runs the league, and with clutch and everything, and the way the Lakers are always somehow able to like completely retool and sign guys for way too cheap. Like somehow they signed Austin Reeves for nothing and nobody else made an offer, like just ridiculous stuff like that. It would all start happening for the Warriors. Like they would start getting all these sweet deals, and
the buyout candidates would come on board.
Oh, exactly.
What do you think?
Like
what do you guys think? Do you guys think that if LeBron joined the Warriors would that be the secret ingredient to get Steph one more ring?
They would be one of the best teams in the league. There's no doubt about that. I think
depending on what they had to trade, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't give Kuminga and Clay, and Draymond's like, we ain't trading Kuminga and Clay. You saw him and Barkley going back and forth during the All-Star game about that.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I mean, what are you going to trade him for? Nothing? I mean, come on. I mean, Jeannie Buss to me played that thing like a G. I mean, she's like the Griselda of basketball, man. I mean, she didn't flinch at all. She said, "Talk to his agent," meaning that I'm not excited. I'm unnerved by this. This is big boy business, and if this is what we got to do, this is what we have to do. But everybody was clean. I just really like the way she was able to deflect that whole scenario, because she's thinking about the Lakers 5 to 7 years from now, and the idea that the Warriors could get LeBron James without giving the Lakers some of their top pieces is absurd.
The way to get LeBron, in my opinion, is draft Bronny. Draft Bronny. LeBron said he would love to play a year or two with his kid. And I know Bronny, I know he's playing for USC. I don't quite know how well he's doing.
I went to go watch him in person, and it is, I mean, compared to the Boogie Ellis and whatever the other guard they have, that's going to be like a top 5 pick. Like it looks like it's a whole different.
But would you spend that late first round pick if it kind of
like the way you would on some random European that there's only like really grainy tape about, but you're like, maybe this guy grows like 5 inches and turns into Jokic. Yeah,
I'm more doing it with the hopes it's getting LeBron.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where
this year's draft.
LeBron can walk next year. LeBron can walk next year.
I doubt he goes out in the draft. I mean, that would be absurd. The guy's averaging like 3 points on like 35% shooting, but
yeah, well, that's true. So you don't expect he could be though in this upcoming draft if he wanted to be. If he felt like he was going to go high enough. Yeah, I don't see him listed here on NBAdraft.net in the mock draft. Carl, can you hear us? Well, you can hear us, but we can't hear you.
Yeah.
What do you think, Rye? You're the tech guy. What's he got?
What does Carl need?
I don't know. I would go into the settings, audio, and check what your mic says. Because if the speaker, it seems like the speaker's good because he can hear us, but maybe
you can hear us, right, Carl? Yeah, he can hear us, but we just can't hear him.
It might be in the settings in StreamYard. Check your settings.
Carl's a good-looking man. Do we just keep him here for the looks? I mean, just because he's man, that one guy in the bottom box, he didn't say a ton, but man, he was dapper. What if Carl just made expressions? He's just like,
he's got just absolutely fire takes too, like, and they're just bubbling up, and he's just trying. We got to get Carl's mic going before Cy gets here. That's for sure. Carl, see what you can do. Rye, do you have Carl's number? I do have Carl's number.
Maybe you could dial up Carl off air for just a second and see if you can dial him up, because God knows Danny and I can't, and I'm not sure about Red and Baller.
No.
What do you okay, where are the Warriors as far as this season goes? We know with the win, they're 28-26. They're a game over 500 at home, 15-14. The playoffs, which a few weeks ago seemed like a pipe dream, now are not a pipe dream. Now it's very much a reality that they could be in the playoff mix. They're right now, if the season they're in the 10 seed right now, so they'd be in the play-in if the season ended today. They probably could get as high as
6.
6, maybe? You think 6?
I think 6.
Yeah. So that would get them out of the play-in.
The goal is to get in the top 6. That's still the goal.
They're only like 3 in the loss column. 3 in the loss column behind 6.
So what do you think? I mean, are the Warriors? Do you like the?
We're going off the rocker today. What I wanted to say is the joy is back, right? The joy.
I took myself out of the by accident, hitting the wrong button. You think you would be able to figure out the stream. I've only been doing this for 2 years now. I'll get it. But what do you guys think? I mean, I like Klay Thompson coming off the bench. Now tonight he went 1 of 9. 1 of 4 on 3, 28 minutes for Clay, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, only 3 points. I know he has a hard time dealing with it. I thought the other day when he came out and he's like, "Hey, Manu Ginobili, made it to the Hall of Fame coming off the bench," like almost like he's embracing it. I don't know how you guys feel, but I just feel like Clay probably on this team needs to come off the bench, and I need him to to embrace it, and because I think he's such a powerful force as an influence on the team, that if he's dealing well with his bench role, I think there's more joy in Warrior Land. What do you guys think of Clay coming off the bench? Is it going to be a short deal and he's going to be starting again? Do you think you want to see it the rest of the year? Where are you guys with Clay coming off the pine?
I love it. I think it's the right move at this moment. And it does feel like it's only two games coming off the bench, but it feels like Clay is embracing it tonight. Again, he struggled from the field. He's drifting on a lot of these shots. Like, I want him to go straight up and down, but nonetheless, he did make some nice passes. Trace Jackson Davis was freaking awesome tonight, Larry, watching this game. Jackson Davis, he needs 15 to 20 minutes every game. And Clay, 5 assists is a lot for Clay. So while the shot wasn't falling, he was making some nice passes, which you like to see. But I think the bench role is his going forward. To be honest, Podziemski's bringing more to the lineup with his energy, just with all the things he gives you, the rebounding, the charges taken. Podziemski's doing more. I think it's the right fit for Clay to come off the bench at this point.
We welcome in the man who has been locked on Warrior basketball for the last half hour, I'm sure, or more. The great Cy Sotsis. Cy, we're getting the band back together.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit about Klay Thompson coming off the bench. I like it because I think he's a powerful force. I'm just looking at the team overall going, wait a second. Is there enough minutes all the way around? Clay played 28 tonight. Moody did get in there. He played 20 minutes. But what do you think of Clay coming off the bench? What do you think of the way the Warriors have looked since he went to the bench?
Well, it's only been 2 games, so it's really early to say, but long overdue. Long overdue. I mean, Greg Popovich said it best that if Manu Ginobili can come off the bench, anyone can come off the bench. And look, when you're coming off the bench like Clay is, you're suddenly facing inferior opposition in terms of defense. Instead of facing starters, you're facing second unit players. So you're getting easier looks. The competition isn't as stiff, and you're building momentum in terms of doing that. You're feeling good by the time the late game minutes roll around. His shot wasn't falling tonight, but he didn't look bad. He passed the eye test. He was feeding Trace Jackson Davis a lot of buckets, especially late in the game. Yeah, I like you, man. And great to see all y'all. It's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah.
Carl has the mic.
You should be able to hear me.
Love it.
Look at that. Look at that.
All right. Hey, Carl, how you been?
He's
What's
absolutely
going on,
glowing
man?
right now.
What's up, Cy? How you?
What's up? Good to see you, man.
Bay Area baller.
We got a 7 box going tonight.
You do.
Carl, give us your quick thought on Clay, because I was saying this the other day on 95.7 The Game to I forget who it was, Grandy or one of the guys over there. Just that I like Klay Thompson off the bench on this team, because I just think that he's a powerful presence. If he's willing to kind of agree that this is his best role, I think it's better for Podziemski. I think it's easier. Forget Clay for a second. I think it's just easier for veteran players to come off the bench, whether it be baseball or basketball. I just think it's easier. I think it's mentally more challenging to come off the bench than it is to start. And I think it's usually a veteran that can do it better. What do you think? It's only been 2 games, 1 good, 1 bad.
Well, one, I don't think there's been a bad game, because the objective is to win.
Yeah.
If you're winning basketball, really, who gives a stink about, scoring? I thought, by the way, I thought the best line over the course of the NBA All-Star game was when Draymond Green mentioned that Cat had 50 points and they're down by 25. Because for some guys, the only thing they care about is the stat line. I think the one thing that has happened with this team, needless to say, they have been through a roller coaster season, and how it's affected Clay has been a big part of the mental, emotional piece of him wanting to be the most elite player he could be. But I think with what they've all gone through as a team and how they bonded around one another, supporting each other and the family of their fallen comrade, I think that has helped everybody put their agenda and their ego in their back pocket. Right now, the Warriors might be the deepest team in the Western Conference in terms of guys that can come in and really impact winning. And tonight, I was really excited to see that when Clay saw that the shot wasn't there, he just became an assist machine, because he still draws more attention. Even though he's playing against second unit guys sometimes, he's still going to be guarded like a guy who can go off for 35 points at any time. That just leaves the floor so open for their bigs, for post up, for Saric. And imagine what happens when Chris Paul is running the second unit and you've got Stephen Pajimski and Draymond moving the ball around and creating energy with the first unit. So I think the 2 games he's come off the bench, the fans may notice that a lot. I think as coaches, they're kind of past that. They're really all focused on how can we finish these last 29 and now 28 games and put ourselves in the best position to be successful.
Cy, how far do you think this Warrior team can go? I mean, a couple of weeks ago it didn't look good, and now it looks like they might be able to get the 6th seed, the 7th seed, and maybe get out of the play-in tournament. How is the rest of the regular season going to go, Cy?
Well, the Warriors have the 3rd easiest schedule the rest of the year. That's good. I've never complained about the roster. I thought the roster was sound from the get-go. Baxter Holmes just wrote an article, I think today or yesterday, from ESPN, highlighting Steve Kerr's just resistance to playing young players because he doesn't feel like they're up to speed in terms of the offense that he likes to run, especially with Steph out there. Look, to me, the Western Conference as a whole, it's deep, but it's a little overrated in my humble opinion at the top, meaning I do think the Warriors can make some serious noise. What I saw tonight that encouraged can I swear? I haven't swore on anything long. Can I say shit? Okay, so
you absolutely can.
Okay, so what impressed the ever-living shit out of me tonight was the fourth.
I'm going to have to mute you. We don't like swearing. I said you could say it. I didn't say what the repercussions would be. There's always repercussions. I'm just joking. Go ahead. Go ahead. Usually I save the mute for Danny, but it's just I couldn't resist. Go ahead.
You're good. But what impressed me the most tonight, because the Warriors entered this game with the worst fourth quarter defense in the NBA in terms of defensive rating, and I don't doubt that applies to scoring as well. But what Steve Kerr did tonight, and I'll give him his kudos every time he does something smart, and he did it tonight, was he gave Moses Moody nearly 8 minutes, 7 minutes, 53 seconds more specifically, and he gave Trace Jackson Davis 8 minutes, 20 seconds in the fourth quarter. What I've seen with the Warriors blowing these fourth quarter leads is Kerr going to these older veterans who just are not the same players defensively anymore, and that's how teams have been catching up, and that's how teams are coming back. And tonight he went with the young legs. He went with the fresh bodies, and it paid off. The Trace Jackson Davis minutes, especially as a whole, was very encouraging to see. My honest belief, man, and I say this genuinely, is if they play the right players at the right time, this team can beat anybody. This team can win the whole thing, as crazy as that may sound. It's a huge if, but what I saw tonight with these young players playing in the fourth quarter was damn encouraging, and it made me feel good.
Do you guys all agree with that? I mean, do you agree with Cy that the Warriors could win the whole thing?
I do.
I do too. Yeah.
And the reason being is because the Western Conference this year is the NBA's version of Game of Thrones. You're going to see a bludgeoning happen in the opening round. And it's really about who you match up against. If the Warriors play OKC or Sacramento, I like their chances. And those are 2 teams they could possibly play. If Phoenix plays Dallas, a good team's going to go home early. And, once you get into the second round, it's fair game. Anybody can win because these teams are really, really close. So I would agree with Cy. I thought your take was really strong. The Warriors are the deepest team in the Western Conference now. They got players across the board. They're averaging damn near 30 assists per game. Their turnovers in the second half decreases quite a bit from the first half. I like you, Si. I never had a problem with the roster. I like what I'm seeing from this team. I think they got a good shot of playing deep into the season.
I can't count this team out. So I'm on board with these guys. I can't count out the Warriors. And what I'm seeing, fellas, the joy is back. There were stretches earlier this year where I wasn't looking forward to watching the Warriors games as much as I have been. They weren't playing the brand of basketball that we've gotten accustomed to for the last decade, right? It was frustrating. Wiggins looked disinterested and, Draymond suspended. But this last month and a half, I mean, this team is really coming on strong. Like, they're getting better and better. Jonathan Kuminga is averaging 20 points a game over the last month and a half. Pajemski keeps getting better and better. Like, I'm not putting a cap on this team, and I'm back on board where you can't count these dubs out.
They're deep, like you said tonight. Chris Paul still out, GP2 out. They're gonna have some trouble with minutes to be distributed when they're at full force. And in a strange way, sadly, the whole thing that happened with Decky, I think it's brought this team together in a way that, could happen in such a tragic situation. I think these guys are playing for another purpose as well.
Are the Warriors too deep? Are they too deep? I mean, we talked about depth, but I mean, when Danny just kind of hit on it there. When Paul comes back, there's tough decisions, and young players might get squeezed, and sometimes the young players are their best players.
I got to jump. Apparently, my parked vehicle got sideswiped, so I got to attend to something.
Are you serious?
I just got to knock on the door.
Sideswiped or somebody picked it up?
I gotta go check it out, fellas.
Are you in the city?
Yeah.
Hey,
Walnut
Baller,
Creek, maybe.
Or text me if things if you get some news on that. Let me know. We'd love to
Stay
know.
safe out there too,
fellas.
man. In case that thug is still out there or whoever that is.
He's in the creek.
Oh,
Yeah, it might be just a nice civilian.
So you're saying that
knocking
there
at the
can't be
door.
bad people in the creek? I mean, I live here too, but I get little alerts on my phone. A crime was committed within 75 yards of your front door. Oh, thank you. But no, seriously, Joe Schmo here says if the Warriors get a guy in the buyout, now we're talking about what Danny said, Chris Paul coming back.
Well, I think that's
where are you
interesting.
guys? Yeah, where are you guys? Are they too deep? Do they need a big man in the buyout? To me, it seems like the answer is yes, but who's going to be in that market and who sits and who plays?
Okay, Larry, I'm going to give you a very simple answer to all three of your questions.
Okay.
Because it's really the same answer. The answer is no, no, and no. Here's the bottom line. The Warrior team, and I think, Danny, you touched on it very well. It's one of those things that you don't touch on a lot. I had one of my closest friends lost his wife this week.
Oh,
and there's certain questions people don't want to ask when people are going through tragedies, and we've all had to go through it. It's the toughest thing in the world to lose somebody you love and somebody you are connected to. But it creates a whole environment of really taking into consideration what's critical. When I look at the Warrior team right now, they look like a high school team, meaning, and Frank, you've coached high school. Some of the other guys have probably coached. Some of us have played. When you're playing high school basketball and it's getting close to playoff time, you're not concerned about anything except going to the next level. That's it. I don't think any of the veterans are going to be concerned about playing time. I don't think any of the young guys are going to be complaining. I definitely think everybody needs a certain amount of action to stay sharp. Like, I was really glad that Moody got some real minutes tonight because he hadn't looked sharp. He was still grinding and hustling and doing that thing, but he hasn't really found his three-point stroke again. So it's all going to come down to matchups. And when they play, just like the team that they had that won when they had young fella JaVale McGee, they had guys who would play in some series and not others. That's what they're going to be like in the playoffs. They're going to find the 8 or 9 guys who best go against that matchup if they can get out of the play-in. Because I have a tough time seeing them get to the 6th spot. Not that they can't, but it is really tough to leapfrog 4 teams. They would have to leapfrog the 9th, the 8th, the 7th, and the 6th team to finish in the top 6. And to be honest, with the top 4, pretty much we know who those top 4 teams are in the West. It doesn't matter if you're going up against Minnesota, if you're going up against the Clippers, if you're going up against OKC, or you're going up against who's ever going to end up the 4th seed. It's going to be a very similar matchup. The question is, who do the Warriors match up with well? Who do the Warriors have a tactical advantage on? They have a tactical advantage on Minnesota. The tactical advantage is, can we play efficient enough in a way that forces them to take one of the big guys off the floor? If they play OKC, can we get some of their young players who haven't played in the clutch minutes to maybe not play well? Can we create environments where they maybe lose contact with some of our shooters? The Clippers, that's a really tough matchup for them because they match up really well defensively against what the Warriors do offensively. So that, to me, is what it's going to come down to. Because look at it. Right now, the Sacramento Kings are in the play-in, and we know good and well they could easily be in the top 4 in the West.
Yeah, I think it is a really interesting subplot, Chris Paul coming back, seeing what that does to this team, because I feel like the biggest evolution and kind of what we all wanted to see at the beginning of the year was, like, at the beginning of the year, the really concerning thing for me and why I was very close to just writing this team off was, like, they were small and unathletic. Like, they were playing Corey Joseph or Chris Paul with Steph, with Clay. It was like they were slow. They couldn't play defense. And, like, no, Clay wasn't to a level where, it was basically just Steph out there. So what I wanted to see was, like, show me some lineups with Wiggins and Kuminga out there, Wiggins and Moody. Like, show me now this team, like, the identity's turning into, yes, obviously Steph Curry, but especially since Draymond got back and he's able to kind of facilitate things, it's turned into, like, an athletic wing team. And you're seeing Wiggins is much more comfortable in this style of play. Same with Kuminga. It's great seeing Moody in there. I feel like he deserves a ton of props because, I mean, the guy's, in my opinion, like, what he's done, like, he deserves to play in the NBA. He deserves to be in a rotation, getting a lot of minutes. Everything that he's done, he's gone about it the right way. And it's just so cool that he's able to stay ready like this. So I do think they're going to need him in big matchups in the playoffs. So
it's interesting. I was looking, did you guys see earlier today, the former Warrior, who's one of my favorites? I don't know how you guys feel about Legler, but to me, Tim Legler is one of my favorites. And he says that he views, he says the Warriors have been plagued by plenty of issues. Their lack of size remains. He says Clay and Wiggins have declined, and he doesn't think they can win a playoff series. Obviously, you guys don't agree, huh?
I totally disagree with Legs. I mean, I played a lot against Legs in college. We battled quite a bit.
He was a good player, man. He really was.
He was a very good player. I'll leave it at that. He wasn't much of a defensive player, but
no, he was a shooter though. Good shooter.
But a phenomenal analyst. Just brilliant. But he was the guy who said that basically James Harden sucked. And Harden was the 3rd best player on Philly, and he didn't have anything left. And that was totally wrong. I mean, James Harden has gone to LA and lit a fire to the Clippers, and they're one of the best teams in the league. So he's an excellent analyst, but I think that he's wrong. When I look at the Golden State Warriors, and I look what they can do defensively against these offensive juggernauts in the Western Conference, in meaningful minutes, when you put GP2 out on the court with Wiggins and Draymond Green, that's how you win. You don't outscore good teams, stop good teams from scoring, which is why the Phoenix Suns are going to have problems. Also, the Warriors have the proper attitude. They're not afraid to get into a fight. That's what it's going to be in the Western Conference. So Legler wasn't a real physical player, by the way. He was a scorer, wasn't a physical player. That's how you're going to win. I like the toughness of this team. Kuminga has kind of transferred some of his youth to all of a sudden the attitude is turned into a positive. This guy seeked out Anthony Davis tonight to send a statement to dunk in his face. That wasn't by accident. So I like this Warrior team because of everything that I just said.
I think this the Warriors play the Nuggets Sunday, and that's going to reveal a lot because the Nuggets to me are that's the mountain you got to climb over, and
I agree.
They've lost, I think, 6 in a row to the Nuggets now. Last year was the first time in this dynasty they got swept in a season series by a team, and that was the Nuggets. So if they beat the Nuggets Sunday and the Nuggets team's healthy, I would be very encouraged. And regarding the buyout market, there's only one player that would ever be a possibility. I know some people want Robin Lopez, but Kerr's only going to bring people in that know his system, that he's comfortable with. Otto Porter Jr. is the only player out there who I could see being a possibility. And again, that's a huge if, just because of the chemistry thing. But Otto Porter Jr. would fit in. He won a title with this team just 2 years ago. He would solve a lot of the size issues. He is 6'8", but sometimes plays bigger. So again, the Nuggets to me are the biggest, obstacle. If they can win that game Sunday, I'm feeling damn good about this Warriors team. But if they lose that game, I'm concerned. And regarding Chris Paul, I would bet anything that when he comes back, my issue with the Chris Paul usage this year is just the number of minutes. I don't like when he plays 30 minutes. If he plays 20 minutes, the Warriors are fine. It's when he starts getting into the 30-minute mark, you're eating up a lot of time from other players who are deserving. Realistically, though, my guess is when Chris Paul comes back, you're going to see Lester Quinones be the sacrificial lamb and likely will not be getting a run anymore. Whether that's a good or bad thing remains to be seen, but that's what I see looking ahead.
Last time we were here, we got into a knockdown, drag-out argument about Jonathan Kuminga with Cy saying he's a scorer, Carl, me, and a couple others saying he's an athlete. And now Kuminga tonight reaches double figures for a career-best 34th straight game with 12 points, and the Warriors have won 9 out of 11 since that last loss to the Lakers. And that was a night where LeBron had a triple-double, 36, 20, and 12. How has Kuminga found a way to go from doghouse and doesn't fit, and it looks like everybody thinks he should be traded, to key cog playing? To me, he's one of the most unique players, because there were times in his early career where he looked like a guy who had springiness but not a lot of basketball IQ. This year, he looks like he's upped his basketball IQ significantly. And is that coaching? Is that all Jonathan? Was it all in there and he just needed to adapt to the league? My buddy at the donut shop said, Krug, it's all because he's got a new haircut. I said, come on, don't tell me it's his haircut.
I do think the haircut, like seriously, I think the haircut is emblematic though, because it is such a horrible haircut. It was just one of the worst haircuts I've ever seen. And it looks like he just took like some clippers and just buzzed that shit off.
Darren Fox
cut. Yep. And like, that's how he's been playing. He's like, I'm all right. I'm down. I'm gonna get it out the mud. I'm just gonna show up with. Yeah.
Rise a believer in the haircut. Yeah. What do you guys see? Tell me what you guys see with Kuminga. How has he gone from a guy that looked like he didn't fit to a guy that absolutely does and is making really, really smart basketball plays? I saw one the other day. I forget what game it was. It was pre-break. Who was the game? Like one game or two games before the break. He comes down and he gets the ball. There's a guy between him and the bucket. He gets it in the lane. In the past, he would have cocked that thing back and he would have tried to jam it on the guy. And instead, he kind of drifted a little bit to the side, drew the defender with him about a foot or two, passed it to Draymond for an easy bunny. And it's like that kind of growth is so inspiring to see. What are you guys seeing with Kuminga? How has he evolved as a player? Is it him? Is it the coaching staff? How has this happened?
Well, you have to give credit to the coaching staff because they've been both incredibly patient and impatient with Jonathan Kuminga at the same time. They've wanted to use that secret weapon. Who doesn't want to use a super athletic guy who's got the ability to, because he's aggressive, to really make a lot of huge plays. He spent some time working on his mid-range jumper. He really wants to be a good defender. He's better on the ball than he is off the ball, which, you see a lot in young players. But you got to give Jonathan the credit that Jonathan was willing to buy in. Jonathan went from a guy who wanted to be the goal scorer like Wayne Gretzky to, hey, I'll be an assist man. I'll be a utility guy. I'll be a primary option in certain situations. Probably the play that embodies Jonathan Kuminga the most right now is Jonathan Kuminga with the ball at top of the key, Steph Curry coming to set a ball screen, which is really just a decoy to open up a lane for Jonathan Kuminga to attack. For them to implement a play to utilize the gravity of Steph Curry to open up opportunities for Jonathan has shown you the confidence that Steve Kerr has in him, because he's become a part of the unit. And because he's 100% bought in, we're getting a chance to see the greatest of Jonathan in his third year. He's going to continue to move towards being an all-star caliber player. I think he's going to want to get there sooner versus later, since Scotty Barnes made it this year. And I think that only bodes well for the Warriors. He's right now probably their second most important guy on the offensive side of the floor, because they need him staying aggressive, but he doesn't always have to be the second highest scorer like he wasn't tonight. But I thought he played an excellent game tonight.
Anybody else want to jump in on Kuminga? Because it's been dramatic, and I'm so glad, because, guys, I got to be honest, 2-3 weeks before the trade deadline, I was like, oh, my God, they're going to wind up giving this guy away. We're going to wind up watching Jonathan Kuminga thrive in another uniform for like a decade. And, I was reading all the stuff about him and Kerr and the feud and this and that, and I just was so convinced that they were going to banish this kid. And instead, not only did they not banish him, but he's literally fitting in like a, hand to glove. It's perfect right now. Mm-hmm. I love what we've seen. And to me, it's one of the great stories of the year. What are you guys seeing? Carl gave us his thoughts. Anybody else have a Kuminga theory or thought?
A couple of things. It usually takes 3 years for a player to develop. I mean, in a best case scenario, he's not playing for a weak team and just gobbling up minutes. He's had to deal with adversity. A lot of young kids don't make it at the professional ranks because they never have to deal with adversity successfully. Secondly, he is playing in a community of probably the smartest team in the NBA. So he's learning via osmosis, right? And the third thing is, it's not an all or nothing proposition. Steve Kerr is not the best guy in the world. He's not the worst guy in the world. So at some point, the information, the intake was not being received so sensitively. It was received as, well, what is he saying? I have the experience now. How do I apply this? And lastly, I'll just say, Jonathan Kuminga is a dog. This is a guy who wants it. And his talent is flourishing before our eyes. Nobody else in the NBA has a Kuminga. And the Warriors started receiving phone calls, and the first thing that somebody would say was, is Jonathan Kuminga available? So whatever idea you had about your own talent, you started to realize that everybody else had a totally different view of what this guy was. So Kurt put him out on the court. He stopped looking at the bench. He started to flourish. And the rest is history, man. This guy is going to be an all-star caliber player.
Yeah, everyone knows how I feel about Kuminga. But I want to add this. Chris Paul, I think, unlocked him a lot. Yeah. He gave him a lot of confidence, gave him a lot of guidance at the start of the season, which helped a lot.
How so? By talking to him, you mean?
Communication, yeah, communication, confidence building, literally coaching him. He on the court, off the court when they were on the bench, and then Draymond Green coming back, I think, also helped a lot. Even though Kuminga was putting up the numbers and starting to thrive before Dre came back. Look, Draymond Green is just a brilliant human being when it comes to basketball, especially, and he's been a huge part of this as well. But look, Kuminga, to me, I still don't know what the comp is. Like, I had Mark Jones on the show just the other day, and I asked him like who does this guy compare to? And he said Paul George, but I still think his ceiling is limitless. I don't know what the ceiling is. Kid could be a superstar. I'm lagging on this, but I'm dedicating a show just to him in the near future because even though he's been on the team nearly 3 years, there hasn't been a lot written about him. So I did some research, and the more you learn about this kid, there was a stat mentioned tonight in the Warriors game, which is fascinating. The Warriors are tied for the NBA record for most players on the roster whose dads played in the NBA with 5, right? You got Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Trace Jackson Davis, and Gary Payton II. But Jonathan Kuminga's dad was also a player as well. And he might have been playing in the U.S. A true story. If he hadn't fallen in love with his wife and ended up staying in Africa, but the progeny is there. So he's got, I think, 3 brothers, and they all play basketball. He's a very humble person in the sense that he didn't grow up with much. He also grew up internationally. So he's got that Kobe background where he's much more mature than his age indicates, fluent in 4 languages. So he's intelligent. I think, as Frank said, he's got that dog in him. There's no question. What I saw from him his rookie year that stuck out and why I started raving about him immediately is the fact that he's ambidextrous, grossly underrated aspect of his game. A lot of players, you kind of square up and force a player to go to a side. You can't do that with Kuminga. He's got great feel for the game, incredibly strong. And I just love the fact that Kobe Bryant's his idol, and that's the player he wants to be. I love that aspect of him. So I've been loving this kid for years, and I just, I'm excited to see what becomes.
Cy, would this be too much hyperbole? I have said that Jonathan Kuminga within 2 years will be an all-star, and by the age of 25, he could be a top 10 player in the league.
Oh, I don't think that's hyperbole. He might be the best player at 25. I mean, who knows what his ceiling is? I mean, we're finally seeing him actually play. I really wish we were seeing him play last year instead of Anthony Lamb. That still frustrates me to no end, but who knows? I don't think that's hyperbolic at all. I think this kid's ceiling is limitless. It's his, I've always loved his shooting form. It looks a little awkward, but in terms of actual, structure, in terms of fundamentals, I think it's beautiful. It's borderline perfect. I hear people criticize his ball handling, but I don't see the turnover numbers to substantiate that. I think he's a fine ball handler. That's going to improve. I love this kid, man. And the future of the Warriors is just so bright. Really
that
is.
Positive communication between Dan Cochimilio and Cyrus Satsis is brought to you by valleyhillroofing.net. 209-481-6851. They can only come up a couple times in the show, but I have it written down. When Cy and Danny communicate in a positive fashion, it needs to be a sponsored segment. Jordan Pena says, I respect you guys staying up late analyzing the game. Yeah. Well, we know what we're hopefully going to do more of this year. And Jordan Pena with another one. Warriors got potential and some good young guys. Absolutely. Steve G says Kawhi ceiling for Kuminga. By the way, we should mention this tonight with Steph Curry got his 6,000th career assist, 8th player in the history of the league with at least 23,000 points and 6,000 assists. Can you name the other guys? Who in here can name? Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 guys in the history of the NBA with 23,000 points and 6,000 assists. Does anybody know who they are?
I'll go with the first one, LeBron James.
Can you repeat the question one more time? I'm sorry. But
the question is, Dan Cochimilio leaves Philadelphia going 45 miles an hour. No.
Okay.
No. 6,000 career assists tonight for Steph. He's the 8th player in NBA history with at least 23,000 points and 6,000 assists. Can you name the other 7?
7.
Carl said LeBron.
Yes, Magic Johnson.
Magic
Johnson is not on this list.
No, he's not on that list.
How about Big O?
Oscar Robertson is on the list. Unless you're talking about, were you talking about Oliver Miller or Oscar Robertson? All right,
Kobe is on that list.
Kobe is on the list.
I heard the answer. Some of not.
Okay. This seems a little whack, but what about Russell Westbrook?
Russell Westbrook is on the list, and Jordan is not.
Wow. So not enough assists. Okay.
So far we have LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Kobe Bryant, Oscar Robertson. There's 3 more.
Not
James
LeBron?
Harden?
Not LeBron.
Not LeBron?
Not
No,
LeBron.
no,
Oh yeah, no LeBron.
no, LeBron's on the list.
Is
We named
Rick
LeBron-
is Rick
no,
Barry
wait.
on it?
We named
That's a
LeBron
good one.
first, so it's LeBron, Westbrook, Kobe, Oscar Robertson, now Steph. But there's 3 more guys that we have not.
How about Rick? Rick Barry?
No, Rick is not on there.
What about
Kareem.
James Harden?
James Harden is on there. Good one, Rye.
Yeah.
Kareem.
Kareem, no.
Not enough.
Steve
to say.
Nash?
Nope.
One of them you're not going to get. It's going to be impossible.
Oh, Kevin Durant.
Nope.
That's an assist. Yeah.
Oh, John Havlicek.
How about Larry Bird?
Hondo's on the list. No Larry Bird. There's one more we haven't named.
Jerry West?
Jerry West.
Wow.
Wow.
Good call. Good
Good
call,
logo.
right?
Oh, that's good. I didn't think we were going to get it that fast. So, Frank, you knew that list. You saw that stat earlier tonight, or did you just know the list?
No, and I actually watched the game in Marin tonight. So
Okay.
so when I was driving in, that was one of the questions that they gave. I was surprised about Havlicek. That surprised me.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was going to
You know
guess
what,
John
John Boy?
but I guess I missed.
He did everything.
Cad V. 20.
Great player. Don't get me wrong. Awesome
They're
player.
start paying for your comments. You
know.
I'll have
Jordan
a nice
Payne,
little talk with
Jordan
Larry.
Payne is his mailman. No. You
know what,
keep
guys?
doing supers and guessing if you want. We already got them all, but yeah.
I have one more thing to say about Kuminga. I think that I think Draymond plays a key role in this whole thing. Because I think Draymond going out and forcing Kerr to play Wiggins with Kuminga, and then a big and yeah,
Great call.
First of all, it allowed Steph, it allowed the vets, it allowed Draymond from the sideline to see, oh shit, this is the direction we need to be going.
Great
This
call.
is what we need to lean into. And then when Draymond got back, I mean, I don't know if you guys were noticing this, but there was a little bit of a feeling for me like, shit, like Steph looks like really tired out there. He's having some games where he's scoring like 12 points and kind of not looking as Steph-ish. The second Draymond gets back, all of a sudden he is exploding again. And it's 60-point games, 45-point games. And Kuminga is just fitting even more seamlessly in. And I think Draymond, I mean, God, the guy, please he's got to stay on this team. I think he's the key to unlocking all this stuff. Like he at this point at Steph's age, I think Draymond he makes everything so much easier for Steph.
This is a pretty smart group because if we go back, even in the summer before free agency, the consensus among the group was everybody who says Draymond sucks. You guys don't know jack about basketball. We all, for the most part, wanted Draymond to be on the team and to receive the contract that he received. He's validated everything. Draymond is playing as well as he played like 7 years ago now.
Mhm.
So,
Shooting
really
like 40% from three.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah.
When we started this stream, I really wanted to get Carl's thoughts because Carl coached LeBron in the AAU years. And, obviously the Warriors made a play for LeBron.
Love
Windy
it.
had an article out on Brian Windhorse. Those of you who don't know Windy, had a article on ESPN.com today. And he points out that the Lakers won the NBA title 4 years ago. Since then, their regular season record is 148 and 144. Ooh. He also points out that the Warriors won the NBA title 2 years ago. And since then, their regular season record is 71 and 64.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also points out that in the first five full seasons as a Laker, LeBron had led the Lakers to 6 playoff series wins. In the 5 years prior to that, he had led his teams to 16 playoff series wins. And then he points out that over the past four postseasons, Steph and the Warriors have won 5 playoff series. The 4 years before that, Curry led them to 14 series wins. How do you guys feel about the Warriors pursuing LeBron James? Joe Lacob has come out and said, and it was all Joe Lacob. Joe Lacob is driving this thing. And he just doesn't, I just think he wants to sell tickets and he wants badly to extend the Warrior dynasty. The Warriors, paid $350 million in combination of salary and luxury tax last season, nearly $400 million this season. and they're hinting at maybe trying to reduce costs. But and Lakeup, is hawking everything. He called the station the other day when we were talking about the cap to clarify something we were saying about the cap. So he's really concerned about. Yeah, he's really concerned. Ray Ritter's like, yeah, there's this guy named Joe who doesn't like what you said about the cap because I guess we got some of the numbers wrong. Whatever. I could really give a damn about the cap. But Joe Lakeup said on the TK podcast last week that the Warriors plan to exit the tax entirely by next season, which leaves the legacy, of this team kind of in limbo. Carl, let's start with you, and then we'll go around the room. I want Cy and everybody else's take on LeBron to the Warriors. Is it going to be rekindled this summer? Was it just a passing deal at the trade deadline? And what would you think of it?
Well, I think two things. One, if the Warriors would have had a chance to get LeBron this year, I think they would have taken advantage of it. If the Lakers were trying to do, and I'm not going to say it's a fire sale because you're never going to fire sale a guy of that talent and with that kind of historical legacy. But if they could have cut a deal that could have allowed them to keep Jonathan Kuminga and still had LeBron, then they would have made that deal because LeBron has a thinking cap on all the time. LeBron is always calculating, and the Warriors are at a point where they can't beat teams with just talent. They have to beat teams by doing some of the things we saw tonight. I mean, you saw a team that had 7 turnovers in the first quarter, finished the game with 9. So having another guy with a thinking cap on would have helped. As you go into the offseason, it's really going to be pinpointed by what happens come play-in and playoff time. If the Warriors can make a run and give themselves a chance to look like, hey, if we added a great piece, we might be able to close the deal, then of course you're going to be aggressive. And that's Joe Lakeup's job. He's not trying to bottom out and go to the lottery and try to do it that way. He's going to try to come up with a way to find where the assets that want to be here, want to be in a winning environment, know that the ownership will do whatever it takes to win. So you're going to have LeBron James on the table. You're going to have Giannis Antetokounmpo on the table. You're going to have any star player who may not think that where they are, they can win a title in the next 2 years. You're going to see that person at least get a phone call.
If looking at the salary cap numbers briefly, knowing that everything needs to match up, I think the Warriors were probably hoping that they could get it done for Clay and Moody. And I'm sure the Lakers would want to grow the deal and make it, Clay and Kuminga, which Draymond said, hey, man, that wasn't happening. But what do you guys think? I mean, I'm a Warrior fan. I'm a lifelong Warrior fan. I don't want to see LeBron James in a Warrior uniform. I really don't. I understand Joe's a businessman and he's got a very expensive, opulent arena and he's got to get people through the turnstiles, and LeBron would definitely do that. But I think he's tone deaf. I think there's a huge faction of Warrior fans that don't want LeBron to be a Warrior. But maybe I'm misreading that. Am I misreading that?
Larry, what's the objective? The objective is to try to be a championship team.
Yeah,
the guy's still one of the best 15 to 20 best players in the league, and he's clearly one of the 3 smartest players in the league. Why would you want to have more of that?
I know. No, I'm not saying, Carl, you're making a sensible argument. I'm making an emotional argument. I'm just saying he has been the villain, and now you're telling us to welcome him on the team. I don't know. Maybe I'm alone.
You mean the same team that Chris Paul is on?
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Touche.
Hello.
But LeBron's a bigger villain than Chris Paul.
There is so I'm in LA right now, and I have a bunch of buddies that grew up hardcore Lakers fans that were Kobe through and through. Kobe to them was the same thing Steph is to me, and these guys are it is weird. They won that title and granted it was in the bubble, but they don't really feel it. They didn't excite them. And they talking to them, they feel like it's no longer the Lakers. They're watching the Los Angeles LeBrons, and all of the kind of internet discourse and everything, all of the like LeBron stan type people, they like go back and forth with the Lakers fans because it's all about LeBron. And I don't know, it's set up a weird vibe where honestly, most of the hardcore Laker fans I know are not like super juiced on this team. Like, yeah, sure, it'd be nice if they won the championship, but it's different. But I do think if he came and bent the knee to Steph Curry, that would be different. Because I feel like, Steph is still the guy. So it doesn't really matter.
I can't see the deal happening without Jonathan Kuminga being included. Now, with that said, this would be the
Would you make, and sorry to interrupt, but would you make the deal from the Warrior perspective if Kuminga had to be in it?
Maybe.
No.
And I'm listen. Now I'm thinking as an owner, okay? That team would be the highest rated basketball team since Jordan's Bulls. All right? They would gross the most money in the history of the NBA. And if you're an owner, I mean, I can't even talk about the Beatles. This would be the Beatles all over again. Okay?
Explain for a second to Rye who the Beatles were.
I mean, because here's the thing. What LeBron is thinking is basketball has to get easier for him. Watching the Warriors play tonight, it was embarrassing how easy the game was for the Warriors versus how tough it was for the Lakers. I love Jonathan Kuminga, but the reality is Jonathan Kuminga represents a new beginning for the Lakers because he's a star. If he's on the Warriors, he's going to make $30 million a year. There's no negotiation. Lacob knows that. So if you're the Golden State Warriors, you immediately ascend to one of the prohibitive favorites to win a championship because guess what? Achimura is probably going to come back on the other end. Maybe Vanderbilt comes back on the other end. So the Warriors have a solid team, not only with their starters, but with their bench as well. Bus, all of a sudden, has a young player that can ingratiate himself in the LA market that true Laker fans would love. Maybe you give him Moody, and all of a sudden they're young again, and that's a team that their fans can really dig. But the Warriors would be on a run towards winning a championship and making an uncalculable amount of money.
Think about the end of the documentary, like for these guys, like it would be, it's like the two players of this generation. It's the old heads, just the veteran dudes going up against all of these like new up and coming teams, the Nuggets, all these young dudes. It would be sick. It honestly would. It'd be like wrestling. Like it would be. It would be a
great TV show. By the way, I asked the question: would you include Jonathan Kuminga in a trade for LeBron James? Once again, shake your head, yes or no. I'm going to say no. Wait a second. This shaking of heads where Cyrus and Dan agree is brought to you by ValleyHillRoofing.net, 209-481-6851. They both were shaking their head no. Cy, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to your good friend, Dan Coach Emilio. Go ahead.
I don't think LeBron's coming to the Warriors. I think KD
even this summer. No.
I don't think even in this. I don't think that's ever happening. I agree with some analysts out there said if LeBron and Steph were ever going to unite, it would have to be like a neutral team. Even though Steph's been a lifelong Warrior, I just don't see LeBron come to the Warriors. I think that would shock me. But with that said, I'm with you in the terms of being a Warriors fan. I love this team. Grew up with them. I love the fact that the Warriors have an owner who's willing to take these types of actions to improve the team, make them relevant, make them contenders. Because look, if this trade actually did happen, the Warriors are championship favorites. I think they immediately jump up to number one. I mean,
depending on what they trade,
fair. But I think Clay would have been included, and like the Clay Moody thing, I think would have been the ideal package that the Warriors wanted to send. And then I also agree with anyone who says the Lakers would not make that deal without Kuminga. So the trade would have never happened. But you have to respect the fact that Joe Lacob wants to win, man, because you have in the same vein where we criticize owners for failures. We have to give owners credit when they win and when they're leading an organization that's constantly, near the top. Dude, I mean, think of all these decades we had with like the Chris Cohens and who was the guy before him? I forgot his
Franklin Muley.
Muley, thank you. I mean, Jesus Christ,
He
man.
had
I mean,
nice hats. He had a really nice hat.
So to go from that to Joe Lacob, I'm grateful, man, and I just love the fact that he's at least trying to constantly improve this team.
Danny,
by the way, you bypassed Dan Fernand, Larry.
That's true. I did. As soon as I said that, I thought Dan Fernand is looking down, going, "Damn you, Krueger." Coach Emilio in Mesa, Arizona, as we speak, behind a
not Mesa, West Side. Yeah,
West Side.
I'm on the west side. I'm out in Peoria.
Oh, Peoria. That's a much more dangerous part of Arizona. Probably behind a 12-foot retaining wall with an HOA, guards, and lights. But Danny,
reptiles in the background.
Yeah, exactly. There's probably people right now with a life alert around their neck saying, "I'm just glad I have this." Danny, what? Because you never know what can happen. Danny, you don't want LeBron, huh?
I'd love LeBron, but not for Kuminga, because Kuminga's 21. LeBron's going to be 40 in December. You'll regret that trade for 10 years.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you regret the trade if you won another title and you got to another final?
Yes.
I still think it's not worth it, because Kuminga, you can build around Kuminga.
You can build a championship team around Jonathan Kuminga?
I think so.
Eventually,
I think eventually he's a guy that he's like just starting. I mean, he's 21, and look at his freakish athleticism. I think the guy gets to be, a 23 to 25 point scorer starting in a year or two for the rest of his career.
Is that a better player than Dominique Wilkins?
Well,
we don't know yet.
We don't know. I mean,
TBD.
He's got as much
he
athleticism
became
as
that
Wilkins.
25-point-a-game guy, 8 rebounds, 25 points, really good defender. Is he a better player than Dominique Wilkins?
Not at this point, but I think he's got the potential to be.
Is he a better player?
And if he doesn't blow his
James
Achilles
Worthy?
out, he could surpass him.
Is he a better player than James Worthy at his peak?
Carl,
Not now,
he's
but
21.
I think someday he will be.
He's 21. You're talking about a guy who's 40, who's talking about maybe he probably has 2 years left in the league.
Well,
But
here's the question I would have.
Needless to say, none of us are discounting Jonathan Kuminga. In his draft class, I had him as the second best prospect that I loved. I loved Kate Cunningham. The only guy I loved better than him was Kate Cunningham. I actually liked him better than Scotty Barnes, but I knew Scotty Barnes would probably develop quicker just because he had a really good feel for the game. The question is, and this is with no disrespect to Jonathan, is Jonathan going to be a 1A guy that you can build a team around? But if you have a chance to get an asset that can help you compete for the next 2 titles, would that not be the best use of your resources right now if you're the owner?
I don't think so, because you don't know if LeBron's going to stay healthy for the whole time. What
You don't know if anybody's going to stay healthy.
Here's the question. Here's the question I would bring up. When I first toured that arena with Gary Radnich years ago, when they were just building the thing, I looked around and I said to Gary, "Man, this place is an opulent palace."
Were you with Kevin Durant on that tour?
I was with a guy named Brandon Schneider. Remember Brandon Schneider, who was like one of their executives. And this guy was selling ticket packages. And I said to him, "Brandon, this place is so fancy and so nice that it's almost as if the Warrior basketball people or the Warrior business people have challenged the Warrior basketball people to keep a competitive roster on the floor so that people, because it's going to be a very, very expensive arena. Will people pay to, see a bad team in a very, very expensive arena?" I kind of think that the business people challenge the basketball people. So I guess the question would be this: what's better for Joe's business? To win one more ring with Steph, and as you say, Carl, go to a finals and maybe lose, and have like a 2-year thing, and then 3 years from now maybe Steph and LeBron are just both either done or winding it down? Or is it better to have Kuminga in that second timeline and a whole new, as Danny described, kind of a blossoming young star that drives people through the turnstiles? I don't have the answer. I'm literally asking you guys because I'm wondering what you'd say.
Let me add this.
What's better for the business?
Let me add this real fast, because you look at the Warriors' future 5 years from now. First of all, Kuminga and Podziemski, even though Podziemski is a rookie and Kuminga is in year 3, they're the same age. So you've got Podster's 21 this month. Kuminga's turned 21 a few months ago. So you got 5 years from now, you've got Kuminga and Podziemski. Who knows what kind of players they're going to be? Lester Quinones, who is already looking damn good. Guy Santos, who I think is going to be a fantastic player. Trace Jackson-Davis, Moses Moody. You have already a nucleus that in 5 years could be the best team in the NBA. And that doesn't include upcoming drafts, free agency.
I think I strongly disagree with that.
And I don't want to break that up.
You have a love for Guy Santos that I've yet to develop.
You will develop it. I promise.
Let me ask you guys this, because LeBron, we're talking
Danny,
about LeBron for
Danny, that's 2 comments in a 15-minute period. I'm gonna have to
that's a lot. Yeah.
All right.
We're talking about LeBron for Kuminga, but why not? LeBron's a free agent, is he not? After this year, he can get out of his contract. I thought he could get out of his contract.
No. The Warriors have Kuminga locked up realistically for like 10 years.
No, but I mean, LeBron, can't he walk?
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Yes.
So
wait a second. This agreement between Dan and Cyrus is brought to you by ValleyHillRoofing.net. 209-481-6851. Continue, Dan.
Yeah, there we go. No, I think the Warriors could go after LeBron in the summer. And they don't have to have Chris Paul is going to be gone. That's $30+ million. You can move off of Clay's his comes off the books.
And just to add to that, Dan, real fast, like Clay, you can re-sign him after you get a free agent, right? Because they have the bird rights, so you could still keep him and give him the money, but after you get. Sorry, I just want to add that.
Yeah, and Clay could take $20 million, if he wants to stay a Warrior, 20, and instead of paying him $45 million or whatever he's getting, LeBron could you get off of Paul. Lacob could pay that extra tax for a year or two, and he could have both. He could have Kuminga and LeBron.
A man who was sideswiped has re-entered the building, and we don't care enough to ask about his vehicle. I mean, that isn't right. We're still worried about Cap and Clay and LeBron. A man who we love and trust had his vehicle sideswiped. Bay Area Baller, what's the verdict?
Yeah.
It's totaled.
What?
Wow.
It's totaled.
Damn.
Your car is totaled.
Who's the sponsor for that right there? Brought to you by Roofing.
I might need some.
Wait a second. Bay Area Baller's totaled vehicle is brought to you by Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. Call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264.
Dang, looks like somebody took a sharp corner. Didn't hit it.
Look at that. Danny working that into the script. Seriously, Baller, what happened? Where were you parked?
I was parked on the street. It was unfortunate. My wife had just moved my car because she's leaving early. We have tandem spaces where I'm at. We had just parked it there right in front.
In the creek?
And out in the creek. And I don't want to divulge too much info, but
was it the Bugatti or the
person got taken away in cuffs?
Was it your Pagini?
They were drinking. They were drinking.
They caught the person.
Well, and apparently the person may have tried to flee, but anyway, I don't want. Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, well,
the details, but
the like new car market right now and used car market is so crazy. Like you're gonna probably get a nice fat payout. I bet you're surprised with how fire they value your car.
The 09 Camry treated me well. I got it probably back in 2011. It was a couple years old. It treated me well, but I guess it was time. It's going to be time to move on from the Camry.
You look sad, man. Sorry,
you
dude.
You look a little shook.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I was just right before I got the news, I was just about to go on my Trace Jackson Davis tangent because he was just so awesome tonight. He's such a quick leaper. It's just he came in 5 minutes. He had Larry. I know you were doing, talking some football, but in the first
I was watching it though.
In the first 4 minutes, Trace Jackson Davis played. He had 13 points. Like they were getting him the rock. I don't know. It was his birthday too. Shout out Trace Jackson Davis, happy birthday. I don't know if that's why it's like Clay's getting him the rock. Pods is trying to throw him sky high alley oops. Like they were trying to get Trace Jackson Davis the rock. He was awesome. He needs 15 minutes a game, but really the joy is back. It's fun watching these Warriors again because there was a while where they were frustrating, in my opinion, but the joy is back. Guys are getting better and better. I can't count out this team.
15 minutes, 17 points, 5 rebounds, an assist, and 2 blocks. I mean, that's a great performance for sure.
Mhm.
One thing, a couple things, and we're going to end this in a little bit, but I wanted to throw out a couple of topics here. One, I read today the Orlando Magic have been increasingly mentioned, guys, as a potential landing spot this summer for Klay Thompson. And this is according to Mark Stein on the Stein line. He said Thompson, of course, slated to become an unrestricted free agent, makes over $40 million. The Magic could have as much as $45 million in cap space if they move on from Markelle Fultz, Gary Harris, and Jonathan Isaac. What do you there was okay? So the other night I'm watching the Warrior game. Steph in the middle of the game puts his hand out for a high five. And Klay just blows right by him.
I saw that too, and that's weird. That was weird.
And I'm wondering if Klay feels like Steph betrayed him in some way because Kerr had that hard conversation about playing off the bench. I believe wasn't it the first game off the bench, or was it before that?
I think it was maybe the game
before that.
I think it was the game right before that. I think.
What do you make of that? I mean, is Klay Thompson are the Warriors not going to the finish line with Klay Thompson? And I'm sure Klay probably feels like, if he was going to be traded, that Steph would have to okay it. Do you think there's deadline just came and went recently? Do you think there's some bad vibes over maybe some of the dialogue around the trade deadline that maybe Klay feels like Steph wasn't there to support him? I don't know. I'm just trying to read guys shining other guys, but it was blatant.
Mhm.
Did anybody else see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't see it.
What
but
were we
I
seeing
did,
there?
I did read something somewhere yesterday, the day before, that Steph said something like 100% that him, Klay, and Dre finishes Warriors their careers. That it's 100%. That they have this agreement between the three of them. So I don't know what to make of it, but
I thought it was a bad look. I didn't like it. I think Klay can't allow that to happen. From the start of the season, I've always said that there's going to be a market for Klay, though. For anybody who thinks that there's not a market for him, you're wrong. All right? And Orlando is a team, and OKC is a team also. Because Klay is bigger than his numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Klay is a champion. These teams want to win championships. And just because you have the talent will not guarantee that you're going to win a championship. That OKC team with Westbrook, Harden, and Kevin Durant, theoretically, they could have won a championship. It never happened. The team that the Warriors beat after being down 3-1 never happened. I respect Klay Thompson's mental focus. Even if he doesn't play as well offensively, he's going to add to any team that is positioned to win at a high level. Probably a 2 or 3 year deal. I think around $30 million. Maybe he'll take a discount with the Warriors for 25. But this Klay is trash narrative. He's no good. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's absurd. Hopefully he'll stay with the Warriors, but I think there's definitely a market out there that it's going to require some negotiation with Klay Thompson.
Do you guys see Digital Drew's comment there, Larry? Is that what was referring to? The late foul? Was that it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the play was done, and I think that's what he was referring to. Yeah.
I mean, that was a massive bonehead play. So I think it was just kind of in the moment sort of thing.
But it wasn't a good look. I agree with Frank. It didn't look good for him to do that. I hope it was inadvertent. But Klay can get in his feelings sometimes.
I mean, I think the question is, can Klay? He's saying the right things now about like being cool with coming off the bench. He mentioned like Ray Allen on the Heat. Mentioned Tony Parker,
Manu.
Can he really put his ego aside and just be the sixth man and just do work in the second unit and just be that guy while like Pajemski basically steps in and takes his role? Like, is he going to be okay with that? Because if he can be okay with that, he is such a massive asset. You still need him for floor spacing. Like, really, still the only true like absolute 3-point shooters on this team are Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But I mean, you see it. Like, I know Memphis fans were super frustrated. This is a terrible comparison because Klay Thompson's a Hall of Famer, but they were super frustrated with Dylan Brooks. Like, Dylan Brooks, remember how like the guy had total like main character syndrome where like he would just be hoisting crazy threes, taking ridiculous shots, doing dumb stuff. And it was because he was like kind of the big dog for Memphis. And then these young guys came up and he still felt like he was the big dog because he was still in Memphis. He gets shipped out to Houston and like he's found the perfect role and he's totally changed as a player and he's totally playing within the team and he's being an awesome leader and stuff. Maybe it will take something like going to Orlando for Klay to find. I just hope that he's able to find it here.
Right. I think he had a talk last week. I don't know, maybe it was within the last couple of weeks with Jamal Crawford. And he said it was very enlightening. Jamal Crawford, great six man, light him up scorer, was telling him just have fun and realize you can affect the game a different way off the bench and you still have it. Just enjoy that role. And Klay seemed to embrace that. And I think what Klay needs is he just needs his ego stroked by other players that are still letting him know that he's still a great guy, great player. and that it's okay to be a sixth man. Andre Iguodala was a great sixth man, but he was in the closing lineup all the time.
Well, I would love Klay to finish as a Warrior. That being said, there's got to be a limit to the amount of money we can sign him for. I feel like Rice got a good handle on the cap, maybe Carl or Red, but like what if we re-sign Klay like a 2 or 3 year deal or Sai as well? Does he deserve more than 10 mil per or 15 mil per? Because I'm not going above that. If he wants 20 mil, sorry, then he's gone. So before I hear your response on that, and I don't want to make this about, my Camry that's now totaled, but when the cop knocked on my door and he said, "Hey, your vehicle's been hit. Can you come outside?" I said, "Oh, let me finish up my live stream. I'm doing a live stream." Right. So when I went back out and kind of the dust was settling and analyzing the situation, the cop was talking to me. He said, "Hey, you mind me asking what kind of live show were you doing?" Right. And I was like, OnlyFans. No, I'm just playing. But I said, no, I'm talking Warriors post game. And he's like, oh, really? What, you got a YouTube channel? And he was like, I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I love sports talk. I listen to sports talk all the time. So then I had to name drop, right? I said, oh, Larry Krueger? He goes, yeah, of course I know Larry Krueger. And I was like, that's who I was talking to. I was talking to him and a bunch of guys. We're breaking down the game. Mm-hmm. So the cop who was kind of helping me out through the situation.
Did he say anything about my priors?
He left that out. He was a good guy. He left that out, so he wasn't trying to make you look bad. But he was a fan of Larry. He helped me out. So hey, when in doubt, just start name dropping Larry.
Mm-hmm. Hey, let's just say this: the greatest thing I can say. I'm coaching Little League. You have to do like 19 trainings, fingerprinted, live scanned, concussion protocol, positive coaching alliance, sexual harassment training, CPR. I mean, literally, maybe the greatest accomplishment of my life is that I'm coaching Little League. I mean,
you passed the test.
Seriously, I passed the test to coach Little League. So
Don't go out there in some of these new baseball pants.
I mean, I almost feel like, that's like my mic drop. It's like, hey, you think you're a big deal? Yeah, I kind of do. I coach Little League. I've been fingerprinted. Okay. All right. I just want to let everybody know. Seriously, I couldn't believe it. And they're like, I did the fingerprint. I did all the sexual harassment training. I did all this stuff. And it was like, I go to the lady. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to get my badge. And she's like, yeah, you have 4 more steps that you need to do. And you need to go to 3 coaching clinics. And I said, coaching clinics? I mean, I've got 4 kids. This is my 3rd kid. I've got 2 kids that have played varsity baseball. I'm pretty on the guy's sheet where it says, he has a quote, the commissioner of the league. It has a quote from Jeff Kent. It says, enjoy the game more. I'm like, he said that to me on the radio. You're a little moniker about Jeff Kent. He said it to me. Isn't that enough? I don't have to do the training. No. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, Carl and Frank, you guys have worked with kids before. Which just means that you are the finest human being.
And me, and I've coached kids as well. But I didn't go through that level of rigor. That's times have changed.
Danny tried to coach, didn't make the cut.
Yeah, didn't make it. Yeah. Hey, I tell you, try adopting a kid from a foreign country. What you got to go through with through customs and immigration. And through China, I mean, man, they did every kind of background check you can imagine. Oh my goodness!
All right, guys, we only have one last topic, and then we'll get on with our night because I don't want to push this past midnight. But we're 20 minutes till midnight. But I do want to get this out there because I think it's kind of interesting. And then we'll have one last question for you guys. The All-Star Weekend. We talk about that for a second. It was the second lowest NBA All-Star Game viewership on record. The lowest All-Star Game viewership on record was last year. The NBA has lost, and now there's some debate over this because I've seen this stat, and then other people told me this is not a true stat. But according to what I've read, the NBA has lost 80% of the All-Star Game viewership just since the 1990s.
I believe it because NBA ratings are down across the board, which is weird, but true.
Why can't, I mean, I used to love the NBA All-Star Weekend. Loved it. Taped the dunk contest, watched it multiple times. Loved the 3-point shooting contest. I didn't even mind the celebrity game. The All-Star game when I was a kid, everybody wore their uniforms. And like if George Gervin did the finger roll and Dirk did the step back and everybody, Tim Hardaway did the crossover and everybody kind of did what the move that kind of their patented move. I feel bad for the players now because I know that the players know that everybody's watching them. Silver made a huge stink. Hey, these guys better play. And then he seemed really aggravated when he was handing out the trophy. In past years, I felt like they didn't balance the floor, which is a really bad look. And then in past years, it's been like a layup line of jams and nobody plays any D. This time around, they did balance the floor, but they settled for more threes. I think there might have been like 175 threes or something. One side shot 91 threes.
You did a lot of research for this, Larry. I'm impressed.
Well, I was on Monday on 95.7 The Game, and I knew this was going to be a major topic, so I did do the homework on this. You're right. See, look at Cy. Cy knows when I'm pulling homework. What do you guys make of All-Star Weekend? Do we have is there anything the league can do to change the format? I like the East-West more than the U.S. against the world.
Agreed.
Is there anything, like if I made you silver and I said, rescue All-Star Weekend, do you have ideas to rescue All-Star Weekend?
I have one.
Does it need to be taken out back and shot?
I have one, and it's not original. It's not exciting, but you saw how much harder the players played in that in-season tournament. Give the winning team $500,000 for each player. They're going to bust their ass out there. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
What I was thinking was, how about this? How about put a huge amount of money on a charity, and you have two charities, but the winner, it's not like the winner makes 80% of the pot and the loser makes 20. How about it's all or nothing? All or nothing. So guess what? You're going to have to face up your charity if you dog. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of anything to try to get the players to play. And it's like, I don't want to bash the players because I think the players, they mean right. But like you saw Anthony Edwards, he's like, I don't want to play hard. He like literally said, I don't want to play hard. There's nothing on the line. He said the quiet part out loud. Where are you guys with All-Star Weekend?
Larry, I think it's time to bring out your roofing spot again. I agree with Cy over you.
Do you? Do you agree with Cy?
Yeah, I don't think the players care that much about the charity. I think if they got the money themselves, they'll play.
Yeah.
Danny and Raya agreeing, once again, brought to you by Valley Hill Roofing.net, 209-481-6851. They're a Go Green roofing contractor, which I know that makes Cy happy knowing they're going green. No, but seriously, what do you guys think? Is there anything that can be done? Is this like, am I turning into the old man, get off my lawn? What do you guys think?
I like the old man if that's what you're going for.
Well, no, I'm not really. I'm just trying to. I loved All-Star Weekend. Like when my kids were little, I was down at the Gas Lamp in San Diego. It was the night that Levine and Gordon hooked up in the dunk contest for the first time. And we sat there in this restaurant, this really good Mexican restaurant down in the Gas Lamp. And my kids were little because it was a few years ago now. And we loved it. I mean, we absolutely loved it. It was an awesome show. It was a great dunk contest. And I love All-Star Weekend. But it feels like we're kind of pulling people through it. Like nobody really wants to be there. I don't know.
Follow the money, Larry. It's really about money. And I honestly believe it is, because the All-Star Weekend is something I believe that the NBA brand and the owners kind of have a hold of. And despite the ratings and losing the audience, it is very profitable. And it's a 3-day infomercial for the NBA. You know what I'm saying? And the players have way more information now than they ever had before. You can thank LeBron and a couple of other industrious types in the league. And I don't think it's bad. I think if you said, listen, the winners are going to get $500,000 and your charity will get $250,000 or $500,000. Then players like money, and it motivates them. And if the owners are not willing to say, this is what we make from All-Star Weekend, there's a problem. Because it's secretive, and they are partners. The players do not look at themselves as employees. They look at themselves as partners. And if you have that mentality, then you want to know that we're breaking bread. We're not going out there and working for a salary. As ridiculous as it might sound, despite the money that they make, it's a mentality. And I think Silver knows that. Everybody knows that, but they don't want to address it because they like the imbalance that is currently in place.
I like that idea. The other thing I would like to see, I loved the Steph versus Sabrina, the 3-point. That was awesome.
Agreed.
How about instead of having the dunk contest that we've seen umpteen years, how about bringing in the WNBA and lowering the hoop to 8 feet and watch some women do some crazy jams? You never see the women get any dunks. Lower that thing to 8 feet and see how creative they can get.
Have you heard of Michael Porter Jr.? Yeah, you guys have a real nice conversation about that.
Yeah.
Kenny
Smith.
Who?
No. I'm being facetious about that because Michael Porter Jr. kind of intimated adjusting some of the things, and he took a real backlash on Twitter. So I'm just kind of joking with you, Danny.
Oh, interesting.
But women, I don't think would like that. I mean, Sabrina already showed, listen, minus Steph Curry, I can win the NBA 3-point shooting contest. So they want to mortgage up as opposed to mortgage down. This is the mentality.
Yeah, I think that the takeaway from the weekend was that Steph versus Sabrina thing, because there was actually like real kind of just stakes to it, because NBA players, they care about, they see themselves as a brand now. And so, and ever since kind of LeBron basically just honey-dicked America, saying he was going to be in the dunk contest for 10 years and then never did it, it just became uncool. Why am I going to be in the dunk contest? There's no upside for me winning this thing. I'm just going to look, I'm going to look bad losing to whatever. Now it's like Mac McClung. So first of all, I could never see LeBron ever doing something like that, where he goes up against a WNBA player who very much has the chance to beat him. And like, I mean, it was sick that Steph like ended up winning it, but I mean, like that was like real stakes. Like that would have been like, it would have been kind of like, he would have gotten shit about that. And like everyone would have given the Curry brand shit. So I think there needs to be some sort of shame aspect like that, because shame will motivate these players, incorporated into the All-Star game. So I'm thinking maybe even like, they do the rising stars, like freshman versus sophomore. Like maybe you just make it an All-Star tournament. You just get rid of both of the games and you have like the rookies play one of the All-Star teams and the sophomores play the other. And then the winner plays blah, blah, blah. Because LeBron does not want to lose to a bunch of freaking second-year players. Like that would be embarrassing. These guys would get embarrassed if it got to that point. Also, why the hell did they take away the Elam ending? That was like the most entertaining aspect of 2022. Point, it made it awesome. I was
waiting to say.
Yeah,
good point.
So Cook.
The Elam endings that they did those couple years, I thought the games were terrific.
Yeah,
they came down to the wire. So I would like to bring back the Elam ending along with like you fellas stated, man. The only thing that's going to wake these guys up is paying him some cash. But Saturday night is so much better than the Sunday All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like I get 11 points. Even the skills competition. Me and some of my old coworkers, we used to bet on all the Saturday night festivities. They're fun. We're picking a skills team to win. We're picking 2 guys in the 3-point contest, a dunk, one dunk. Saturday night is fun. I enjoyed it. Sunday, the East got up early in the game, and then it was like I started doing something else.
How is that possible? Like, it is an all-star game. They're always they're always close. Like, I'm personally mad because I actually live bet my Super Bowl winnings on it was just so stupid. But I was itching for some sports action. I was like, no way. This the West are down, 20 points in the first quarter. Like, this live line 16.5, like I'm throwing all my winnings on that. There's no way this doesn't end up a 7-point game. Just stayed like that the whole game.
Once again, we need to take in a meeting. Okay.
Real fast too. Just I saw someone propose an idea which I loved. I don't know if they'll ever do this, but
Larry Wong here is just play for home court NBA Finals.
Well, that would be cool too. But I was thinking of a one-on-one tournament, like have 8 players.
They would never do it.
They would never do.
Too much shame.
That would be awesome if they did.
Awesome.
Here's when Carl and I are familiar with this. When 2005, I think it was. I was basically Allstate had a 3-on-3 deal, and we went to St. Louis for the Final Four, and Carl helped me put together a team of local college players who played, and we played at the Cow Palace in like this. Whatever you want to call it, Bay Area tournament. We won. And then our guys got a trip to St. Louis and then played teams from other cities, Chicago, New York, Philly, in a 3-on-3 tournament. And I thought it was kind of cool. And it was definitely a lot of fun. There are people who aren't in the NBA that can dunk and can shoot. Why not they have halftime shows? Why don't they do a halftime qualifier to find if you're a great dunker and you're not playing in the NBA and you want to come out at halftime, sign a waiver and
sign the Achilles waiver. Yeah.
Sign the Achilles waiver and basically come out, and every team in the league's got their representative. Why not a dunk contest in front of NBA players by guys who aren't in the NBA?
I like that, Larry. That would
we all know there are guys that can dunk. Right. Dunking is not like, you're not in the NBA. Well, you can't dunk. There's probably better dunkers outside the NBA in some ways, and maybe even more creative.
It's called team flight.
Team flight.
You can pull them up on YouTube. Team flight. You'll see some of the most ridiculous stuff you've ever seen.
So the best dunkers in the world are not in the NBA.
No, these are professionals. That's all they do.
Okay, so I got two last questions for you. Who's the greatest dunker in the history of basketball? You can have one dunker, and you can pick. You can have we're going to do a dunk contest, but it's every dunker in history at the apex of their game. Who is the greatest dunker in NBA history?
Jason Richardson.
You took my guy, Baller.
That's why I had to say it first. Someone's going to say he's a Warrior, but it's Jason Richardson.
Took my guy.
Frank says Vince Carter. Baller says Jay Rich. Danny agrees with Baller, right? Jay Rich.
Yeah, I was going to go Jay Rich, but
we're talking NBA dunk contest.
Yeah, the greatest dunker in the history of basketball is
Brent Barry. No, I'm joking.
If you take all the guys who've ever played, it's Zach LaVine, and it's not close. Not because Vince didn't do a great job in 2000, but Vince couldn't do the dunks that Zach LaVine was doing in 2020.
Pound for pound, I'm going with Spud Webb.
I'm going old school. It's either going to be, for me, Dr. J, Jordan, or Dominique.
I'm going Dominique, man. My God, Dominique did it in game, man. Those two-hand tomahawk reverses and stuff. I mean, how do you go again? I'll tell you the other one who's a sleeper, and I don't.
Chris Anderson, Birdman.
No, I was gonna say the late Len Bias could throw it down with. He was entertaining as hell. In some ways, Len Bias was like a Jordan Dominique blend, right?
Biggest
he was.
He was 6'8", right?
Yeah,
he was the entertainer of Jordan, but he was the bigger body.
We still haven't seen the greatest NBA dunk in game, and we're going to see it one of these days from Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, when he goes over,
right? Yeah.
How does Jonathan Kuminga now? How does Jaime Jaquez wind up in the dunk contest? Jonathan Kuminga, no.
He was asked about it, and he said that he didn't rule out doing it someday, but he said he doesn't script his dunks. Like he said, everything.
He seems like an in-game dunker.
Yeah, he's spontaneous. Like he doesn't plan it out, but he's such an athletic freak.
He's going to jump over somebody in some game and just like.
I mean, we got kind of robbed by like why the hell haven't we seen Zion in the dunk contest? Like that. I mean, Zion's insane. I don't know if he still can do it, but.
Oh, he's ridiculous. I always enjoyed Isaiah Ryder, and I loved I love Nate Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm Bay Area partial, but
I wanted to make a comment about Steph tonight because we obviously he's known for his shooting, his great play, but the pass that he did with the no look behind his back, it reminded me. Do you remember the play when KD was on the team and it was a long pass to Steph, and then he just didn't even look. He just threw it back up, and KD, it's like he had eyes in the back of his head. Steph does not get enough credit for his passing. And
he's the greatest hand-eye coordination athlete maybe ever.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that shot from the tunnel the other day?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And that was not one of those. That was not a optical. That was not made for video. That was real, right?
Yeah.
What the heck was that?
You're talking about his assists also. Like I truly feel like obviously it can't happen, but like I feel like you should just double his assists just for all the assists that he gets he never gets the assists, but he gets so many hockey assists and all the assists that were created just from him taking up space on the floor running around.
I want to go back real fast to Rise All-Star gambling because I used to bet on the All-Star game over and won for like 15 years in a row.
Yeah, I wish I did that.
Is that what you did? Because the over used to be the biggest lock in gambling history, and I made a killing doing that every year. So you did not bet on the over.
No, I took the live line because I was like, there's no way this game is not within 16 points by the end. And they They just never freaking. I didn't realize like Jokic and like Doncic, like they're just not built for the All-Star game. Like these guys do not give a shit, and they are just not
Jokic
built
was
for it.
hilarious. He was hilarious out there.
Two supers, and then I got one last question. We'll jet. Jordan Pena, another anomaly is Klay Thompson off the bench. What do you think of that, Krug? I love it. I want to see more of it. Jordan Pena, Klay off the bench, fire. All right. Jordan Pena single-handedly was incredible tonight with his donations. Thank you, Jordan. All right, last question. By the way, can you have a celebrity game with celebrities if you don't recognize any of the celebrities?
Are they
Miles? What's this? The Cowboys edge rusher. Parsons was just going in, but kind of a hardo. Like
I get a feeling that we could take the panel of this show and make it the celebrities, and they would more people would recognize these people than those people. Okay, last question. March 17th is Selection Sunday. How much college basketball do you guys watch? If I say to you, name me the best player in college basketball that's going to go first in the NBA draft, and name me one team that you like to win the NCAA tournament, can you name either? Can anybody name either a good team in college hoop or one? Let's just say I'll look at NBADraft.net without looking at it. I'll take the top 5 guys. Can anybody name any of the top 5 guys that are listed in the 2024 NBA draft mock draft?
Yeah, I've been watching ball.
Isaiah Collier, is he still in it?
Isaiah Collier. No.
Really?
Isaiah Collier's 6'5" from USC. They say he's going 25th in round 1. Can anybody name?
He was the projected one.
Can anybody name any of the top 5 guys? I'll give you one hint. 2 of these guys are from France.
The French kid is going first.
There's 2 of them. Sarr or Rasacher?
Sarr's the center. Rasacher's a guard. So I'm going with the center.
Good
Okay.
knowledge. I
That
follow
is good
women's college basketball more than men's. Honestly,
Can anybody name the Pac-12 player that they say is going number 1?
Number
Not the
one.
kid
Not who?
There's a
Williams?
Pac-12 player who they say is going number 1 in the NBA draft.
Cody Williams kid from Colorado.
Cody
Yeah,
Williams.
the Cody Williams. Yeah, the kid,
Yeah.
Colorado. Yeah,
Yeah, I watched him. I
Jalen
watched him
Williams'
play.
taller, longer brother.
I watched him
exactly.
play. I mean,
Danny, come on, don't lie to me.
No, I know Cody Williams, Colorado. I mean,
What
No,
about
yeah.
the kid from Baylor? Is he in the top 5?
no, he's not in the top 5. But
is this the last year of the
Uh,
Pac-12?
Guard from
by the
Baylor.
way?
The guard from Baylor.
No, the guard.
Yeah,
the guard
Jacoby
year,
Walter.
Pac-12.
Jacoby
Jacoby
Walter. He's
Walter.
3rd.
he's in the top 5, but he's not going number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
I have
Okay.
no idea who's
Selection
going on.
Sunday. Selection Sunday is coming up on the 17th.
I'm going.
As
UConn.
we're sitting here on the 23rd, this will be the last question of the night. Who do you like to win the NCAA tournament?
I like
I'm going
UConn to
for you.
repeat. I like UConn to repeat.
That's
just-
so chalk.
just to
Yeah, it
be
is.
different,
But
I'm gonna
I
tell
lived
you,
in Connecticut, so I used to go to the games in. At
Danny's taking Connecticut.
I like
Red's going
Washington.
Duke. Duke.
I'm gonna get
Purdue,
suckered in. I'm gonna get suckered in.
Carl's going
Kentucky.
Purdue with the big man Edie. Kentucky.
I like long shots again this year. I think long shots are gonna do well.
Who's the
So-
hottest team in college basketball, though?
Oh, well,
right
it's
now?
St. Mary's. So I have
Mary's is
so many
Dale.
futures on, but I don't know. Mahaney doesn't look the same this year.
Aiden Mahaney.
Yeah, he doesn't look the same, but they are. I mean, I have a bunch of futures on them. I have some futures on Oklahoma from the beginning of the year because somebody told me their guard Javier McCollum was like a
Do you
complete
use a
dog.
VPN?
He's
Like, how are you
awesome.
placing these bets?
These standard. I mean, to win the tournament, pretty standard. I'd still love
So how are you
Kentucky.
betting? Like how? You
Oh,
have a
I have a bookie.
VPN?
I have
Oh,
a
you have a
bookie.
bookie. You're going old school.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Sounds
Kentucky,
like, hey,
Kentucky just has like Dillingham is insane. I don't know if you guys watched that Florida game last night.
There you
I mean,
go.
or not Florida, sorry.
LSU.
LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, they lost. That was the flukiest freaking game winner of all time. But Dillingham just completely took over the game. Also, that kid Shepard, the white dude, kind of reminds me of like Devin Booker in college a little bit.
He's good.
There's supposedly 2 teams from the Pac-12 that are going to make the tournament.
I mean, USC is not even going to make the tournament, which is insane.
Does anybody know the 2 Pac-12 schools that will make the tournament?
Washington
Utah.
State and Arizona.
Mhm.
Arizona, yeah, the Wildcats.
Wow.
Arizona, they say, is going to be a 1 seed. The one line right now is UConn, Purdue. I'm looking at the bracketology. UConn, Purdue, Arizona, Houston on the 1 line. Carolina, Tennessee, Kansas, and Marquette on the 2 line. Duke, Bama, Iowa State, Baylor on the 3 line. Auburn, San Diego State, Creighton, and Illinois on the 4 line.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego State that high, really?
Houston's
Surprised
playing really good, right? Houston's
They're
good
always.
club.
I always just want to pick Houston though in the
Right.
tournament just because of just the rebounding and the athleticism.
I'm rolling with Houston. I'm rolling with Houston.
I'm gonna go.
Speaking
I'm gonna
of
go
the-
with Connecticut.
Just
I'm gonna go with
talking
Connecticut.
about college in the draft. Do the Warriors not have a number 1 next year?
Correct.
They
Yeah.
don't.
Not.
It's a
They
good
just
year to
traded
not have one.
Corey Joseph for number 2. All right, that's going to do it for us. Let's promote everybody's channel. Bay Area Baller 18. Everybody go give him a like and subscribe. The man lost his vehicle in this stream.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
That's true. That's true.
crazy.
And I got it. There was one comment that don't find it, but Antonio Green said, "Baller, you got to give Pods the respect." And you know what? I do. I got to capitulate because I went on here post draft and I said,
Yes, you
Podziemski,
did.
he's one-handed. I don't know if he's got it. I knew he's a rebounder. I knew he's tough, but I was wrong. I didn't think Pods was going to be doing what he's doing. I'm not afraid to admit when I was wrong.
Respect.
So, hey, Pods, keep it up. I love how, you're proving the doubters like myself. I was worried that he's so left-hand dominant. Well, guess what? He's got a sweet floater that he doesn't even need to finish with the right if he doesn't want to, which he has finished a few, with the offhand. So he's not Killian Hayes where he's just completely just one-hand. So he's mixing it in. So Antonio Green, I got to capitulate. Podziemski, this kid's a dog, man. He's a winning basketball player. He makes winning basketball plays just with how tough and hard-nosed and, how willing a rebounder he is. So shout out to Pods. Keep it up, man. Jonathan Kuminga, sky's the limit. Just keep getting better and better. He's averaging 20 points a game since January 5th. We haven't even seen Kuminga's ceiling. It's right now. I'm not going to call Kuminga a star yet, but this guy's turning into a stud, is what I will say. Kuminga's turning into a stud.
That's fair.
Everybody give Baller a like and subscribe. Cy, when are you going to be next on the Locked On? Are you going to be tomorrow before the game? The Warriors go tomorrow night.
Correct. Post game, Warriors and Hornets, right? Is that who they're playing?
Right.
Yeah, the Warriors better win that. That's all I'll say there. Yeah, and I got an intern. I got a couple interns now, so I'm going to introduce one of them on the program tomorrow night.
What's her name?
And otherwise, same old good old time. And
Who's your
thanks for
intern?
having me, man? I missed you. It's the one bright side to the Niners season. What a fucking, sorry to swear, what a depressing event that was, man. I don't know how deep your coverage went in that regard, but
I was in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, that just killed me, man. That hurt more than the Ravens loss. That hurt more than the first Chiefs. So that just fucking hurt, man, because you knew they had the game, and Shanahan went for a field goal instead of a touchdown in OT. And yeah, anyways, but thanks for having me. It's good.
Absolutely, Danny, NorCal Sports Network. When are you going to be on again?
Sounds
Sounds good. All right,
Tomorrow.
Rye.
Tomorrow, Friday, we'll come back on. Take the weekend off. I had a little notes in here. I see a couple of guys that were that love to hate on me, which is cool. That's fine. I can take it.
It's not fine, but you're handling it with grace.
But San Francisco Giants mania came in here, and I booted him, banned him off my show last night.
Sworn enemy.
So
Really?
he came
You
in here.
Banned somebody.
So, and I was just going to say, Larry and I are friends. You might want to pay to make some of these comments, derogatory comments toward me, because I might just pay Larry to just boot you. I have the money to do that. So, and I think Larry would probably enjoy it. So, San Francisco Giants Mania and CAD V20. CAD V20 was hadn't said a word, and he was giving me a hard time. So,
Danny doing drive-bys. Rye, we're gonna play Frank's song on the way out. Is your dog anywhere nearby? Is Ringo in the house?
Ringo is okay.
No longer?
Ringo. No, he still is, but he just rolled in shit yesterday. So
wait, what's going on? Catch me up, man. I have no idea what this is about.
Oh no, he's a totally healthy dog, but it rained in LA and he just found like a mud puddle. It turned out it was just old dog shit or something.
So
rubbed it all over my
where is
couch.
he? Oh my God,
I took him to Petco for a wash, but just all we're cleaning the cushions, the carpet.
Did he really?
Oh yeah.
When I see my dog rolling around in the grass, I'm like, no.
And that's grass. I mean, we're talking shit. And is Ringo on the couch?
Oh, is Ringo nearby? Could we put the camera on Ringo?
Man.
He's in bed with the missus.
He's already in bed.
Mm-hmm.
With the missus.
With the missus. Hopefully he's super
Your
clean.
missus or his missus? Frank, go ahead.
I got to ask it one question to Dan, because I was just thinking, with all these baseball, all the jersey stuff. I don't know if you guys are following this. It's hilarious. Yeah. All of the jerseys, all of the pants are completely see-through. So like there was like a photo of what's his face on the Giants with the mustache, their third baseman, Casey Schmidt. Like it's like official team photo. You can just see his ball sack. There was some guy on the Padres that was bending down. You see his entire dong. Like it is absolutely crazy.
Rice sent me a picture.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And also they just like
maybe they're trying to go for the women fans this year. Maybe they want.
I know. I was going to ask Dan. Kapler somewhere just oiling himself up with coconut oil. How much do you? He's like, God, why didn't we have these
uniforms last year?
Yeah, exactly.
I did talk to Marty Lurie today, and I said, Marty has the 5 down there, and he's like, it's real. For me, it's real baseball. It's real baseball again. So I said, what do you mean? He's like, there's no, Gabe Kapler's out, Melvin's in. It's real baseball. It's real baseball. You got to come down here. Now you ask a question, you get an answer. When you ask Kapler a question, he followed it up with another question. Carl, when can we hope to see you again? Is it possible we can get you back? I know we've wasted 2 hours of your time tonight, but is it possible you'll come back?
I think so.
Wasted.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was just trying to be self-deprecating. Red, when do you go? When does the In the Dungeon show go again?
Definitely this weekend. I might pop in tomorrow night. I haven't been on for a while, maybe 3 or 4 days. So I want to give listeners, people who support me, maybe some opportunity to talk about the Warriors like we're doing tonight. Hey, Rye, you know my song, The New Joint?
Oh, I couldn't find it. Do you have a link you could text me?
Text it to him. I'll play one. I'll play the other.
I don't. I'm trying to. Oh yeah. Oh well.
We got time. What the hell?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, only Danny has lights out at Del Boca Vista.
Yeah, it's only one. It's only 1:15 here.
It's only 1:15 there, and that means most of the people are getting up already for the morning.
I'm not in El Boca Vista anymore. You know that. I'm renting.
You got booted?
I'm renting that one out. I bought a new home last year.
Wait, what? Yeah. All based on the proceeds of Dan's NorCal Sports Network.
Yeah, those.
Where are you at now?
I'm up in. It's actually
another gated community that keeps undesirables on the outside.
No, I've actually got kids in this neighborhood, which is kind of nice. I don't want to be around all old people.
That's a bummer.
Not a way to live life. I like life, kids.
As somebody who's been through a lot of Little League training, that's a bad sign. I may have to report you. I don't want to be around people my own age. I want to be around younger people. These are bad.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. That's funny. No.
By the way, in some of these trainings are like, if somebody changes their behavior, it's like, I don't even know these kids. How would I know if their behavior's changed? He was quiet on the first day.
Rod, just think of the song.
I got it.
Okay,
You got it? Now, Rye, what can you do with it?
Send it.
Okay, what I can do.
Can you send it to me? Or how do I do
I can
it?
I can share it, and I think all you have to do is just allow it, like it's as if you're like adding someone to this.
Share it how? Where do I go?
Here,
Brand?
Here
we go.
This is crazy.
Is this the video?
Yes. No. Let me know if you guys can hear it.
This looks like a commercial, right?
It is.
I want to see that movie. That looks like a good movie, by the way.
Deposit reference.
Can you hear it?
You like it?
Now, is that the same girl you had going before? What's her name?
Sound like?
Her name is Sonarelli, and she's an absolute superstar. She spells her name Sonarellie, Sonarelli. And again, man, she's a major star. She and I hooked up. She liked my music, and she agreed to get on the second song.
That is cool.
Yeah. So,
nice.
Yo, man, thank you. I really appreciate it. I think as an artist, what you want to do is just simply be consistent. People have favorite songs or whatever, but I like the vibe of the song. And I'm working on a couple of more songs now, so I'm going to release a couple of more over the next 3, 4, 5 months. So
let's do this. Let's play everybody out with your other song that we've had in the hopper here for a while.
I dig it.
Make You Feel. Here we go.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And everybody have a great night, everybody. What's that?
You kind of sound like an uplifting Scarface or something. Do you feel that at all?
All
it's good.
I'm a big Scarface guy.
Here we go.
Right before we set up on this, only made a pledge to get some wins and live his life against the grain to the bitter end. You miss a shot at life, you think there's nothing else for you to do. This ain't a tragedy, son. I know I've seen a few. You're not responsible for somebody else's thrill. Your integrity's intact and you're still trying to climb the hill. I was a lonely man. I never thought it would come true. But sometimes in life, all you have are your dreams and you. That's when you realize that life ain't standing still. And all you can do is bow your head and accept God's will. But it's funny how it makes you feel.